On the 17th of January 2011, you had this press conference in which Elmer gave you 2 disks of data in front of reporters, and he said about how this system, the Swiss system, runs exactly what you're saying. He said it damages society, and since then, Mr. Assange, people across India have been waiting to know when this information will come out, because it has the potential of correcting one of the greatest ills of our system.
Well, let me tell you what has happened in relation to that. So normally we only deal with anonymous sources. Mr. Elmer and his legal team, for reasons of their own, which I don't understand, decided they wanted a public press conference. He then returned to Switzerland and was immediately imprisoned while an investigation has been taking place. And he is still in prison at this moment. He has not, as far as I am aware, been charged with anything. He is simply in prison during the period of investigation. And we have had an offer through a third party that if we return what they believe to be the data, what that Swiss bank believes to be the data, then they will work to permit Mr. Elmer to be free. So my ability to talk about that subject is, of course, limited by the fact that this Swiss bank has a hostage.
So it's a difficult situation for you. It's, the person who's given you the information is a hostage, and as of now, because of that, you're being held back from making this information public.
Well, I obviously cannot say whether there was information on those CDs, what sort of information it was, but yes, it is a very difficult situation for us that he is effectively being held hostage. Let us not forget that Switzerland, about 50% of its GDP comes from banking activities.
Yes.
The last case we did, 2008, regarding the Swiss bank Julius Baer, they tried to close us down. They went to a California court. It was a very, very big case. In the end, we won, and it cost them approximately $300 million in lost profits. They had to cancel their US operations and so on. But Mr. Elmer was followed around by private investigators. That is fully documented and proved, paid for by the Swiss bank. It's a difficult business.
You have strong views on it, and I completely appreciate that you cannot talk about this in detail. But let me ask you more generically, that in your heart, you would like to reveal the details. In your heart. I'm not asking you when or in what circumstances, but having known about it, you would like to reveal the details of how the system operates, would you?
Well, we have various types of information about different banking operations in the world. Over time, we have revealed those. In fact, most of the legal attacks on us have been from banks. Banks in Scotland, banks in Dubai, banks in Iceland. We have all received legal attacks from these banks, and we will continue on publishing data about these banks as soon as we're able to do so.
Have you encountered any Indian names? I'm not asking you to tell me which bank.
Yes, there are Indian names in data that either we have already published or we are going to publish. I can't remember specifically whether the Indian names in upcoming publications, but I have read Indian names. Similarly, in these private Swiss banking concerns where you need at least $1 million, so it is a significant amount of money, not an average Indian.
And it's difficult to identify those names. Anything more you can tell us about?
I can't tell you anything more at this stage. As we go through the process of releasing data, it is always that we have to do extra research, and then once we understand which media organisations are best placed to help us with that research, then we operate with them. But we're not at the stage yet that I know all the research that is going on.
To all our Indian viewers, just one point: should they lose hope that the names will come out? I mean,
no.
At one point, what would you say to them?
they should absolutely not lose hope. I mean, there is it's quite interesting. There are different forces at play here. I mean, the German government in particular has been very strong in that there needs to be more transparency about banking operations. It has gone so far as to buy CDs off people in Liechtenstein and so on to reveal this information. A very, very aggressive approach by the German government. And the German government is the dominant power within Europe. Those German attitudes are gradually seeping in to Europe as a whole. The United States has also been applying some pressure in relation to UBS tax evaders. So the problem is that as Swiss bank accounts are opened up, there's simply other ways to deal with the situation. So you go and register a trust in, say, Charles, and the trust then opens a Swiss bank account. Well, you might know who owns the Swiss bank account, but what's there is a trust in, say, Charles. So then you have to break the trust in, say, Charles. That is a problem throughout the offshore sector. It's quite hard to deal with. You can sort of get it through regulation, investigation. You kind of get this at the level where, although people can hide their assets in this way, the amount of expense and effort and risk involved in the asset hiding doesn't make it worthwhile.
But given the economic and political clout that India wields, any reason India should not be as aggressive?
No, there's no reason why India shouldn't be as aggressive. In fact, maybe it should be more aggressive because India seems like it's losing per capita much more tax money than Germany.